If I cut my hair, hope I grow it long back time like way before. If I wear it straight, will they like me more? Like those girls on front covers.
This is one of my best friends, Vanessa. We've been friends for almost 10 years now.
We knew each other just one, but I never spoke to you.
Yeah.
Because we're in different classes. Just so, like I knew you, but I didn't know. Oh, Davido.
You see, my friend Vanessa is one of those mysterious babes who doesn't really like to give too much information about herself, but she's a viciously talented writer.
Hi guys, just a forewarning for this video that I actually don't sound like this on a regular. We went to a Beyonce concert yesterday.
And screaming your lungs out.
I was screaming. I'm number one! I'm the only one! On a normal basis, I have like a melodic voice. Just know that.
I'm about melody too.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about the abstract thinking of an artist's mind, and I really want to explore that some more. Because I believe that all artists originate from the same calling and only differ by their chosen mediums. This is the first entry to a series I'm starting on this channel called R-tsy, where I interact with other artists and attempt to live in the world that they live in while they are creating their art.
For me, I really love passions. Like I love when people have their passions. I remember at one point we had one essay or something to write, and I wrote some. I had just read a book, so I was inspired, and I kind of wrote it in the book format-ish. And Mr. Iberchuku failed me so badly. Like the F was outstanding. So I feel like a writer has to feel very intimately about their characters. You have to love your characters, even your villains, because anybody that is loved is fully fleshed out. So you have to love your characters. You have to love your villains. You have to love the troubles you put them through, the highs, the lows, because in the end, nothing is black and white in this world. Everything is just gray, just a sea of gray.
Let's start with a story.
So the story is about the tribe had no name, to be fair, but I did use Igbo kind of names. So I would say like a small Igbo tribe who become raided by white people, white men who come under the guise of, trying to save them from another warring tribe. But then eventually it all turns out that this was all a sham, and the white people had made that other warring tribe, kind of like start fighting and start this violence so that the people that they're trying to take really could willingly come into the ships, and when they're taking them away, they wouldn't jump into the water and kill themselves, so that they can actually keep them under the guise of, we're saving you, but they weren't really saving them, and it's just about misplaced trust.
Vanessa lives in a small city called Charlottetown on Prince Edward Island in Canada, and the story that she's attempting to summarize, she submitted it for a short story contest, and she won the contest. And as her friend, knowing her, I noticed a shift in her. This new reality that I can write and I can tell stories.
What?
Yeah.
Like, it's my very first short story. And I feel like that was one of the major, because I told myself that, like, if I do win that award, I'm going to start taking writing seriously. When I started my very first blog, because I remember, I think there was one topic like this that I had read in the news about, like, them grouping African countries into one lump and always just saying Africa, and meanwhile in Europe they'd say Belgium, Germany, they'd give them their distinct personalities, and I just felt so outraged by that, and I was like, I want to say something, but I want to write it out. And that's when I created my very first blog that never went live, mind you. If you go to my Instagram, the first thing you see there, actually the only thing you see there is Nigerian feminist, writer and Nigerian feminist, because I feel like that encapsulates who I am in my entirety. Like, I'm a Nigerian, I love my country. We go through a lot, yeah, but like in the end, is who I am. I feel like being African is so integral to my personality and who I am. And not just being African, but being Nigerian it's such a big part of my personality. So I'm very inspired by Nigerian topics, and it's what I know. It's like where I grew up. Like, I can't bloom anywhere else than in the African fields. I would say The Death of Vivek Oji.
Yeah, that was a really
The
good
Death of
book.
Vivek Oji is one of my favorite
Can you
books.
remember who wrote that book?
Her name is Akwekwe Mezi, or their name.
I also want to add that I'm the one that recommended that book to you.
Did you?
Yes, I feel like we thought about this before. Where I was telling you that, like,
You know what, let's not, because it won't end now. I feel like that book was really an eye-opener. Like, one thing with me is I like being educated. I like reading books where I don't know anything about it. Like, I like reading books by Asian writers, by Indian writers. Like, I just love to know more about people because I feel like it will make us empathetic to more people's situations. So reading that book for me and learning about this gay closeted character in Nigeria, it was like, wow. Because, you know, in Nigeria, like, we're a very insulated community. Like, of course, we have our communities and stuff like that, but we don't really talk about these things. We don't really, like, everything's so hush-hush in Nigeria. Like, even matters like sex is so hush-hush. Like, nobody wants to talk about it. And the fact that nobody wants to talk about it is the fact why we have all these dangers and why we have all
because
these...
people are not educated
People are not educated on it. We have all these harmful vices, like, because nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody just wants to act like it doesn't happen. So for me, reading that The Death of Vivek Oji was such an eye-opener. I was like, these things happen in Nigeria, not only... And like, I feel like, because you know when you grow up, you learn that, okay, these people are bad people, but then you like, no, these are regular people. They with regular stories.
Yeah.
It's just that they are different, and different doesn't mean bad. Different just means different. So I feel like reading that book was such an, and at the age I read it to, it was such an eye-opener that, oh my God, like, gay people do exist in
'Cause, like,
Nigeria.
I think we read it at the same
Yes,
time, right?
at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like, they do exist in Nigeria, and like, they're just people. Like, there's nothing different about them. Like,
They're people
they're just people. Like,
trying to live their life.
trying to live their life. And Nigeria is such a harmful, even to people that are normal Nigeria, not normal, but people that like, you know, just going through. Nigeria is already harmful enough. Talk less of people who are a little different. It's like such a harsh society. So just reading that book was really eye-opening. I think that's why that book stayed with me. Music is kind of like my oxygen. I'm a lover of music. I feel like music is the biggest part of my writing process. Like, I feel like writing is such a delicate art because anything can just like take your distraction away, and before you know, you're streaming through your brain to find like where you were. Long time I just on my desk, on my chair, my window is open, I have music in my ear. Like, I can write like 2 whole chapters, like if the vibe is right. I want to be remembered as a very bold writer. Even as a reader, you can tell when a writer is being honest. I want to write things that shock people to some extent. Like, I want to write things that will make you feel something. Because I feel like sometimes you read some books and you're like, you kind of forget it after. But I want to write a book that will stay with you and that would have you, you know, toiling over it like for a good while. And even if you don't really like the book, the fact that you remember it, the fact that it's such a poignant read in your mind, I think that's all I want. Like, I want to be a very well-known writer. I think sticking with one thing forever is boring. I want to be like Beyonce.